Does everything look all right for you?
I think so.
Sound all right? Look all right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just want to make sure. I don't trust anything anymore.
What?
I mean, technologically, anything
Okay.
non-human.
It's like, do we need to like unpack this?
Just
really
full
quick?
conspiracy theorists.
Oh, okay.
I don't even have to. You just have to like Google what ChatGPT is doing today, and definitely you're in a conspiracy.
So against AI. I hate it. I hate it.
Join the club. Let's do this thing that AI could do without us,
wishes.
I suppose. Occult Confessions is brought to you, commercial-free, through the generous support of our patrons. Visit occultconfessions.com and click on Donate to help keep the history of the occult on the digital airwaves. Richard Rolle was one of the most widely read authors of the late medieval period, with a readership that may have exceeded that of Chaucer. And for those of you who are trying to rack your brains for who exactly Chaucer is, he was most famous for his Canterbury Tales, which you had to read in high school. Rolle wrote about mysticism, and his most popular book was The Fire of Love. We know that Rolle lived near a Cistercian nunnery in South Yorkshire near the end of his life, and we can guess at the rest of his travels more or less. He died in 1349, but much of what's known about him today comes from the case that was made, but never finished, for his canonization 30 years later, to yet another near saint for our series. He attended Oxford, where he was known for his fiery temperament, before dropping out around the age of 19 to become a hermit. He tried living in the forest outside of his family home, but worried that his family would disturb his solitude, as I'm sure you would be too. He picked up and left for Pickering, where he stayed with a squire named Dalton, who was subsequently arrested and his lands seized after Rolle left, sometime after Rolle was gone. He seems to have traveled around Richmondshire, having mystical experiences, writing and living patron to patron. Not exactly the life you would expect of a hermit. Nevertheless, he's always called the Hermit Richard Rolle. His Fire of Love bears out this version of his life decently well. He died surrounded by nuns, and his writings passed to the anchoress Margaret Kirkby, for whom he wrote The Form for Living. Kirkby has the unusual distinction of being one of the few anchoresses to be moved to a different enclosure, because once they closed you in, you're supposed to stay there. But she went to Enderby, where she might better celebrate the Mass, and this brought her to the attention of the man who would become Archbishop of York, namely Richard le Scrope. It was likely that le Scrope was responsible for delivering Richard Rolle's writing to the attention of the wider reading public. And that's pretty much all the history you need. The rest of today, we're going to talk about what Rolle had to say and had to think. Today on Occult Confessions, the confession of one hermit on fire, Richard Rolle. On fire, that is, with love. Also on fire with love, we have Nikki Hiller-Henderson. Nikki, what's up?
On fire with love. Just happy to be here.
I could feel it. I could see it when you showed up tonight. You were on fire with love. So you're here with Jake, as is customary. Jake Wheatley.
Hello.
Are you on water with love?
Yeah. It's a cool, calm love.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to work on your. This sounds like a Dire Straits song right there.
Cool, calm love.
Cool, calm love.
It's funny you bring that up, actually.
Yeah.
I have something to plug today.
Go. This is your chance.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, while people are still listening. Go ahead.
So I have a song dropping in February 13th for the season. You know, preparing for love season. Cool, calm love.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear Cool, Calm Love.
Thank you.
People are going to be so upset on the 14th when there is no cool or calm love.
Yeah, what can I say? Liked it.
You have to get working on that.
So before we pledge it out, I just want to say the reason these two are here is because of all the actors you listen to on this show. These are the only two, and this, I think, is shocking, to have been directly accused of blasphemy in the comments on our show.
Wait, what?
What?
Yes.
When?
That is right. Only you two have been accused of and now think about the other people on this show for a second.
I have known the other people for a very, very long time, and I'm so sorry. I would never question what someone has to say, but that's blasphemous in itself.
I don't know if I'm honored or offended, but I'm leaning towards honored, I think.
It was specifically our Adam and Eve episode, which was apocryphal. I don't really think anything we had to say about that should be counted as blasphemous, but
Come on. What do you expect?
Come on. Come on.
You know what? It just means that me and Jake are saying stuff that people think is hot takes. We got the hot takes.
Yeah, hot love.
You're putting us on fire with your love is what happened, Nikki. That's what's happening.
And my blasphemy.
And your blasphemy. It goes both ways. Either we love or it's the blasphemy. We go... There's no cool, calm love for you two.
I take it back. There goes the song. Sorry.
All right,
It's now called Red Hot Love Blasphemy.
Red Hot Blasphemous Love coming to you
Yes.
for Blackpink for Christmas. BTS passed on it. Okay, let's pledge it out already. We, the members of the secret order of alchemical actors, do solemnly commit ourselves to the full and honest telling of the history of the occult as far as we know it. The more sublime the vision, the fewer the people who might receive it. So said Richard Rolle. And the culmination of the ecstatic Christian mystical encounter involves the hearing of a heavenly song, which might then manifest on the lips of the mystic, singing out jubilantly. Boy, we can't get away from this song thing. This was also Marjorie Kemp, though. One of her early experiences was listening. She heard heavenly music. Did you do the Mormon episodes with me? Did you do any of the Mormon stuff?
Yeah.
We did a Utah one, definitely.
So Joseph Smith also heard heavenly music. Yeah. You guys were on the Utah episode. How could I forget that? Yeah. And you weren't accused of blasphemy then.
Yeah, we learned from our mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, the mistakes we hadn't realized we made.
Yeah.
You were kinder to Utah than I was, I think. In loving God, the contemplative, the word contemplative here meaning like a person who contemplates, a contemplative. It's like a kind of person. So in loving God, the contemplative receives, and I'm quoting him here, the angelic sweetness and the songs of angels too. He who has experienced this sweetness has at the same time experienced the songs of angels, because they are both of one and the same kind. So music, there's something about music that has this quality of reaching us spiritually very quickly. Can you guys identify with this?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's common when we have asynchronous experiences, like it's so often doesn't it involve your like playlist or your we used to listen to the radio, like you'd be thinking of a song and then it would come on independently of your choice. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's a
Absolutely.
very common synchronous experience. It happened to me today, actually, and sort of just out of the blue. And I was thinking, well, music sort of touches us on like a deeper level, right, emotionally.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why we're most inclined to have that kind of synchronous experience if we're going to have one. Anyway.
Music can absolutely bring people to tears through
Yeah.
emotion, you know, happy or sad or anything like that. So if there is something that's going to draw that level of emotion, music is known to stir that up in people.
Yeah.
Also, cake.
Cake too.
What were you going to say about music, though, Jake?
Oh, I was gonna say, one thing that I did through therapy was I would create playlists that specifically were made to evoke certain emotions, just because sometimes you can't get it out, and so those songs start stewing things up.
And I think, especially in occult register, the spiritual, the psychological, the emotional, they're all very close together. They're distinct, but they also have, a lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, Richard Rolle did not seem to be a fan of music generally. He said that he could not abide the noise of psalmody unless his own inner song is mentally attuned to it. So when he would go to church and they would start singing hymns, he would often find it to be, I guess, inferior to, the song in his heart.
Oh, okay. So he hears like angel songs, and so then when he hears normal music, he's like, that's garbage. That's not angelic.
I think it's possible that sometimes it sort of like lines up in this synchronous way with, the song in his heart. But yeah, by and large, not so much. Walt Disney had the same issue. A theme of Rolle's... It's not true. A theme of...
Yeah, that was his issue. Just no one got the song in his heart,
That's, so he had to give us Zippity-Doo-Dah. with all of its complexity. A theme of Rolle's work was that the outward was inferior to the inward. But here, so much so as to curtail his enjoyment of even religious music, which I think was, speaking of hot take, kind of a hot take at the time period, because this was like all the fun you got to have was church music on Sunday.
No, seriously, let the people sing.
Yeah. We got the mystery plays. Yeah, you got the singing and yeah. So the hermit, which Rolle considered himself to be, was best positioned to receive these sorts of experiences. The contemplative hermit, he said, never or scarcely ever engage in outside activity or accept the dignity of ecclesiastical preferment or rank. They tend to keep themselves to themselves. So if you want to get close to God, he's saying, you can't be political. Can't get up in this church politics. Priests.
So is his definition of being a hermit more like how you contribute in your community and how you're involved in like the politics and the church of it all? Like, he's not saying you can never leave your house and talk to anyone. He's just saying like, I leave my house and I'll talk to some people, but I'm not doing all the politics and I'm not getting involved.
I think that helps, Nick. Yeah, I think this is a question we should wrestle with, and I think you're onto something here. Certainly, when he says hermit, I just described his life, right? He's going from house to house and like accepting patronage and hanging out with nuns. He's not very lonely. So it doesn't seem to mean that he cuts himself off from the world. It must mean something else. Maybe intellectually, he's cutting himself off in some way to do this contemplation. Yeah. But I think you're definitely onto something as well in that he's not valuing the things that society generally values.
Yeah.
Like the social climbing. So priests inclined to climb the clerical hierarchy were not good candidates for Rolle's kind of religiosity. One's inclination to, quoting here, lord it over people, in Rolle's words, suggests an insufficient interest in spiritual delight. With so many priests, monks, and friars concerned with worldly success, the contemplative often finds himself less celebrated and even rejected by his fellow human. Let's just take a moment for that list. Priests, monks, and friars. Do we know the differences here from a medieval standpoint?
No. Wait, no. One of them has those little haircuts where they're bald on the top and they got like a little...
You thinking about Friar Tuck?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, so let's start with the friars, Nikki. The friars so the priest, let's compare a priest and a friar. Let's start there. Priests do the Latin Mass. They are closest, they run the church, they have their parish or whatever, and they have their congregation. A friar does not have a congregation by and large. A friar is a roving person. He goes from town to town. And whereas the priest does the Mass, and does the Mass generally not in any kind of vernacular language whatsoever, the friar preaches in common tongue so people can understand what the hell they believe in. Does that make sense?
Okay, so like, when people go on church missions, that's kind of like what friars were, but like on their own.
Perpetual, never ending.
Just like, their life is the church mission.
And they're, I don't know, some of them like Franciscans and stuff like it depended on what group you belong to, but like some of them would do charitable works, or, they would sort of along the way, but their main focus was teaching people about Christianity, who were already Christian, but, because the Mass was always in Latin and, the priest was sort of inaccessible in that way, they needed someone to explain the thing to them.
Make it more accessible for the common people to understand.
Like the spark notes of priests.
They are, yes.
Yes.
Wandering spark notes, yeah. And then the monks, of course, I think have a pretty common idea that's not wrong. The monks, unlike priests, separate themselves off from the laity, and they live cloistered away where, they do whatever. Contemplate Jesus, that kind of thing.
Wouldn't that be right up his alley? Because he was all like hermit and whatnot. So would he have gone to the monkhood? I don't know.
When we did Cloud of Unknowing, that guy had been in a monastery, but I think entered the priesthood. And it's not uncommon for people to move between these roles. I think it's possible that he may have been in a monastery at some point. You're right, it would make good sense. The only challenge to that, I would say, Jake, is that a hermit, theoretically, unlike a monk, doesn't even enjoy the company of other monks.
Guilty as charged. I can't blame him.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Quoting Rolle here, men in general rate them pretty low, hermits that is, since they rarely go out of their way to do miracles. They prefer rather to remain in interior solitude. So they just don't care what other people think. The hermit must be prepared to go about in poverty and expect, despite being privy to God's special vision, to still be subjected to the evil of the world. Evil folk, he says, are many, and the good are few. Evil things happen to good men, of course, because they are involved with evil until they die. So it's almost like Rolle is preparing us to become hermits. The book is sort of written like, so you want to be a hermit.
Oh my gosh.
And like you figure, oh, well, I'm going to be a hermit, so, God will be kinder to me. But Rolle's saying, no, that doesn't happen. You're on your own still, buddy. Bad things happen to good people. Rolle apparently did not enjoy the society of his fellow medieval humans. He said, I myself fled to the wilderness when it proved no longer possible to live harmoniously with men, who admittedly were a frequent obstacle to my inner joy.
Oh my gosh, same.
I mean, Jean-Paul Sartre is going to say more or less the same thing in the 40s, but yes, l'enfer c'est les autres. Hell is other people, Richard Rolle. Rolle was likely an introvert who saw in his introversion a divine blessing, a calling from God. Come on, my introverts. God is calling you.
To stay inside.
Absolutely.
Oh, you can go outside. Just stay alone. Like, just be alone.
Just
and
don't talk to anybody.
Be chill with it. Yeah, enjoy your...
Don't join any politics, okay?
Don't get on. Don't go trolling. Just enjoy your solitude.
Just be you. Be by yourself. I can get behind that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Find a nice spot in the woods, a little tent or cabin, and that sounds really chill.
This is what I've been saying I want to do for like years now. Just go to the woods.
When you don't hear from me and Jake for a while, it's because we've gone to the woods together to be hermits separately on the same property.
On the same plantation.
You pass notes to each other every other month.
Yeah.
Just make sure the other one's alive.
You good? Okay. Love you.
So, rather than the bad temper his contemporaries accused him of, his temper was oriented toward God and put him above the creatural concerns of this life. So because everybody else is concerned with society and this sort of thing and material things, they're not as focused on God as Rolle is because he doesn't like to be with other people. He's more godly as a result.
Less distractions.
Less distractions. Yeah, you just think about God all the time, all alone. Again, his life doesn't seem to reflect this exactly, but it's the ideal. He's fairly negative about the supposed pleasures of earthly existence. Ours, he says, is a vale of tribulation, and there is little purpose in rejoicing over our internment in this prison. We exist on this earth in part to be instructed by the Father's rod. Be good, you two. And we can hope, through God's grace, to arrive at a righteous life. By this he means, God's punishment of us is why we're here, to be punished by God. And if God is good to us, we will have a righteous life of some kind.
That's kind of bleak.
It's pretty bleak.
Be good and you'll spare the rod, as they say.
I don't know that's true, though. I think you're still going to get it.
Be good and you will get the rod, as
because
they say.
You too. But remember, bad things happen to good people. So Rolle is really not letting us off the hook. Life itself is punishment. But we can, by God's grace, find righteousness nevertheless, even though we're being punished.
Okay, but even with righteousness, you still, don't get to be happy, it sounds like.
No, you're not off, because you're still here to be punished.
So what's the point?
That's it.
To be punished.
To be punished?
To commune with God, I think, ultimately. That's the point.
So let's just, get belittled by God until you die.
Yes. Men, says Rolle, not belittled, punished. Men says God loves us. He thinks we're awesome. That's why we're being punished.
Oh no, therapy, somebody.
It's bringing up a lot of memories.
So sorry.
Been
I should have trigger warning this.
No, it's okay.
Men, says Rolle, speaking, of women as well, are ever fashioning comfort for their bodies and destruction for their souls. Discomfort in this life in the form of solitude and poverty bode well for the next life, which will be much better than this one. So, get used to being uncomfortable.
Oh, wait, so we're going to be uncomfortable in the after, too?
No, you're going to be good then.
Oh, but we just have to be uncomfortable for now.
Yes, if you're comfortable in this life, you are more likely to be uncomfortable in the next life, and, vice versa.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm good then. Can't wait.
So it's really about when you want to suffer, You want to suffer now, you want to suffer later.
That's why I had children. But even if...
That's crazy.
It's not really the reason. They're a joy. They're the love of my life. They're the center of my universe. And a giant pain in the ass. And that's why we love him. But I mean, I'm almost making Rolle's point here, right? Like the very
sense.
ordinary aspects of life, right, are extremely inconvenient. They're very rewarding on a spiritual plane. Like, having children is spiritually, emotionally, rewarding, but it's also a giant pain in the ass. So, discomfort. But even if he embraces discomfort, grace remains an important element of the contemplative's success. We've got to remember this is the medieval world, and the seeds of Puritanism exist in medieval Christianity in the form of this interest in grace. Now, not, that thing you say before Thanksgiving.
Okay, I was about to get very confused.
Yeah. So grace is a little bit like luck, but plus God. Luck plus God equals grace. I say luck because I could probably use Riley here, but God's grace is God's beneficence, which cannot be earned. It's just given.
Yeah.
And we don't know who gets it and who doesn't. You just get it and you're grateful, or you don't get it and you deal with it. And that's how it is. That's God's grace. Got it?
Got it.
The Hermit.
That's why people say by the grace of God, because it's like
right, yeah,
God willing,
Same idea. The Hermit does not succeed on his own, but rather because God permits it, and so he must be forever humble in his mindset. Quoting here, "This grace is not given to all contemplatives, but only rarely and to a very few, and then to those who attain to the supreme quiet of mind and body. They are chosen solely for the business of loving God." There's my child. Hello, buddy. It is bedtime. What are you doing here? You here to bring me discomfort?
Summon.
And this is the instructional part.
This is where we demonstrate Rolle's principles. Childless Rolle's principles. What was I talking about? Grace here. Yeah. So, you could be a contemplative, right? You could be a hermit. You could be the most righteous of all hermits. But God... One second, buddy. Let me finish this thought. But God still may not grant you the grace of his supreme quiet. You may still be troubled and uncomfortable.
Wow. It's like a random chance thing. That's cool.
I mean, I'll put that differently. You will be uncomfortable, but maybe if God is good to you, if you have God's grace, God is good to all of us, right? We exist, and that's nice. But if you, only by the chance of God's, only by the chance of God's grace, can you have that quiet of mind and body in the midst of your discomfort.
Is it just like a moment of reprieve almost? I mean, I've heard the grace of God thing, like growing up in, Pentecostalness. They like throw it around a lot, but I think that's something that they never fully like dive into, that it is more so kind of like this concept of just it could happen. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's very Puritan. Yeah, very puritanical in construction, very Calvinist, right? Okay, but what do you... Okay. Seriously? For real? Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Thank you, buddy.
Talk to someone.
He has finished, nursery school, and he's midway through pre-K. So basically, he's almost me as far as, educational attainment's concerned. And
You getting ready to take over the podcast?
yes, this is my legacy. Arguably, he has more to say on the subject than I do
Are
that
you
is
talking
worth
about
listening to.
me?
We're talking about you. Talking about you. What?
What?
Well, you showed up. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, sorry about that.
Did you find your wife?
I found
she
my
a hermit?
discomfort.
Oh.
She is a hermit.
You
She said, enough of this. I'm going away for the discomfort of being alone rather than the discomfort of having children.
Find me in the woods. Actually,
first.
don't, she said.
Yeah, don't bother.
Don't.
I'm out of here.
I'm okay.
To Jake's point, yes, there is a strong element of predestination here. No one can do good or love God or be chaste unless God enables him to do so. Man, oh man, that's Calvinism 101, isn't it? But that's rough, right? If you're a whore, says Rolle,
Okay.
that's just how, that's because God wouldn't let you be chaste.
So it's not your fault.
Oh.
Nothing you could do about it.
I think you're still going to hell, but yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
it
but
kind of,
that's not fair.
I think that alleviates some of the, opinions you get from people.
Yeah,
I can't
really.
You
help
can't be
it.
mad at me. God made me this way, okay? It's what the Lord wanted.
I will say, medieval Christians tend to be better than modern ones in this way. They acknowledge, like the smarter ones, like these kind of guys, Rolle and the Cloud of Unknowing author, that we need to be humble and not accuse people of things and not judge them. Like, that's God's job. We don't judge other people for their lives.
I like that. That's a
No,
chill
that's true.
standpoint.
Generally, yes, as a good medieval contemplative, these guys tend to be like this. Rolle does not consider himself especially worthy of God's favor, which is not given for merit, but rather to whomsoever Christ wills. Not given for merit. It's not because you won, it's not because you tried extra hard. Just some people get it, some people don't. Is this jive, Jake? Is this what you learned?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I would say like what I learned growing up was more so you had to consistently like put in the work to get that kind of favor. So I like this a little bit more because it adds more like humanism to it, where it's like, yeah, we're people, it happens. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't necessarily matter like how, good you're being or in that light. I guess like light.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you necessarily did anything wrong just because bad things are happening to you. There is a certain level of accepting, well, bad things are going to happen to everybody. As instead of every time something bad happening, it's like, God's punishing me.
See, yeah, they always told us.
But God
like,
is always punishing you.
Yeah.
So.
It's a way of dealing with theodicy and all this sort of stuff. Like, if God already knows, because God is God, how could God not know everything that's going to happen? Then, how can you change God's plan, right? This is the central Christian problem. It dances on like the edge of, a spiritual philosophy that I jive which is Pure Land, but also Christian in a certain sense of, just getting yourself out of the way. It's not about you. There's nothing you can do. It's Krishnamurti. There's no ritual. There's nothing you can do. You just need to chill out and show up and let it be. But I don't know that there's a Pure Land on the other side. So it's heaven or hell, and it's already been predetermined for you. That's the Christian side, which is a bit grimmer than...
That's kind of tough to face.
A Buddhist might say that if you can get to the other side of it, then a heaven sort of arrives for you here and now, but not so much for these guys.
Oh.
So Rolle's self-acknowledged imperfection is proof enough that his humility is, well-deserved. But the contemplative life is not the only religious path. It's just the best one. Priests, friars, monks, and nuns inclined to do good works or, preach or whatever. These guys, he says, are not especially good at mysticism. there are many actives who are better than some contemplatives, but the best contemplatives are superior to the best actives. The reason for contemplatives are favored by God is because God is focused on the Christian's internal life. For God, he says, who looks at the heart, rewards the will rather than the deed. Good works depend on the will, not the will on the works. Did you follow that?
Very nice. I think that's like, so you're saying they favor the people who are like thinking about this more, or just kind of living in that mindset instead of the people who are actively trying to will it? Is that
Your intention
yeah?
is
It's
paramount.
what you do, not... Wait, no, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
And I think to a certain extent why. So if this gets back to, I think, a very core spiritual principle of many philosophies, but let's suppose that you want to go to heaven, and so you go around being charitable and helping the poor and all this sort of stuff, but you're doing it the whole time because you want to go to heaven.
So like ulterior motives there.
You don't really have a very pure will. Yeah. You have ulterior motives that are clouding your spiritual experience of the world.
It's kind of a funny example. I just watched what it's called, like This Is the End. It's an old movie that a bunch of those like Seth Rogen and James Franco, they just got together and made a movie, and it's basically about the end times, like revelations. And there's a portion of it that they start realizing that they can be redeemed, but they're actively trying to. And ironically, they demonstrate this, that like your will of you just trying to do it to get into it doesn't actually work. Like you have to actually be like pure.
Yeah. And I think Rolle is suggesting that we can work at that we can develop our will, and that we can purify ourselves with contemplation and focus and love. It's a nice idea.
It's a nice thought.
Yeah. But then God's grace also needs to play a role. So don't take too much credit if you pull it off.
Hey, all thanks to God.
Yeah. In other words, a pure heart can lead us to do good works, but it doesn't necessarily work the other way around. Good deeds can be done for a variety of motives, as I said, that do not connect back to a love of God and one's neighbor, including vanity, pride, and guilt. So I sort of was just talking about the get into heaven thing, but you could be doing good things so that other people will look at you and be like, look at how nice that guy is. You could be doing good things just because you want to lord it over people. You're so much better than they are. Or because I don't know, murdered a man and buried him in your basement like Edgar Allan Poe.
That was an interesting train of thought to get to that one. But I see your point. Makes sense.
It all ends in the telltale heart. So
full circle.
Rolle says it's better to be a contemplative than it is to be an active. The actives, of course, are these people going around doing good works all the time. This is not to suggest that active Christians aren't up to good things, but rather that the contemplative life is just better. He says, if any man could achieve both lives at once, the contemplative and the active, and sustain and fulfill them, he would be great indeed. Only Christ, he says, was capable of such a thing, since he was born already seeing God. Let me walk you through that a second. Contemplative is focused on this act of seeing God, of being aware of God, of knowing God all the time. Not knowing God in the sense of knowing, in the fullness of God's complexity, everything about God, but being aware, having this constant awareness of God's presence and belief, That's what a contemplative works at all the time. But Christ just had that because Christ was God.
Skipped the step. Already knew
didn't need to worry about that. So Christ could wander around doing good works. I think what Rolle is suggesting there is that doing good works can often be a distraction from the real work, which is having that awareness of God. Only when you live with that constant presence of God can you get up to good works authentically. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds kind of tiring. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a lot to be conscious of at all times.
I mean, it really does. I think like when I was younger, living in it too, you're constantly reminded that it's there. But I feel like even then you need that reminder. It's not, I think it's hard to just live in that moment of just always thinking about it too.
I mean, I won't make this any better when I, clarify his point here. He says the rest of us must work to see God, which is such an all-consuming pursuit that we can't distract ourselves with things like, doing good deeds. We must be laser-like focused on the purification of our internal selves. So you're right.
Wait a minute. I want you to be such a good person that you never help anyone a day in your life.
Too busy thinking about God. Purifying yourself through that thought of God. Let's talk.
Next time someone's trying to get a hold of me, sorry, I'm busy. I'm purifying my thoughts right now.
Just thinking about God right now, sorry.
It's just not good for me to do anything else. I just need to think about God.
You are being purified by the fire of God.
Yes.
So, Rolle situates the human soul, which, by the way, he genders female, which is not uncommon in the medieval period. All souls are female. He situates them between two fires. There is the fire of God and the fire of sin. So the one, right, is burning with temptation, pulling us away. And then the fire of God is burning with, purification of us. God edifies and firms up the soul, whereas sin, with its focus on worldly things, dissipates the soul.
That is like interesting thinking about too, because it's like the same thing, like fire being the same thing that they would just like both burn, but one is good, one is not.
Yeah. I mean, we can sort of picture it, that as you get caught up in earthly things, your soul sort of becomes like loose and, flabby and flapping all over the place. And then the fire of God burns away all that loose, flabbiness and like compacts you down. Yeah, your floppy soul, you become like a diamond. You get compacted into one. That was terrible. Those ugly images I created there. God's love
gives you something to think about, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a picture.
If
you're more of a visual learner. God's love is a fire which sets our hearts aflame so that they glow and burn, and it purges them from all the foulness of sin, so that the person so purged longs for death, to be united with his, and it's always his, not her, God. Rolle is assuming a male audience.
Okay, because I was like, but they just said that the soul is female. But then when you meet God as a soul, only the men.
Yes. I think the assumption is, this could just be like, I can't be so sure here. The Cloud of Unknowing, I believe he was writing for other priests. I don't know that Rolle necessarily is writing for other priests. Certainly those are the privileged audience, right? Like getting other men to agree with you is more of an accomplishment. However, he did spend a lot of time teaching nuns. So I don't know. It may just be that he uses he as an all-inclusive. He says, "Grant that I may cease to live, for death, dreaded by so many, will be as the sound of music to me." This inspired Rodgers and Hammerstein.
I knew it.
Yeah, so all she wants to do is get out of the nunnery and die, not marry the captain.
So you're telling me Julie Andrews has him to thank for this?
Yeah, it's Richard Rolle who inspired The Sound of Music. And in the original ending, she did die. She was just murdered by Nazis and she was thrilled.
And she loved it. And then she sang The Hills Are Alive with The Sound of Music as she died.
Yeah, that's what originally happened. See, now I'm going to be called blasphemous.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
My musical fans this time.
You got to watch out for them.
The Von Trapps were wonderful World War II heroes, don't get me wrong. But what can I do about Richard Rodgers and his, love for Richard Rolle? It's just a Richard thing.
What do you do with a problem like Richard Rolle?
You write a musical. The fire.
Just a couple of dicks. Oh.
Ooh, the fire. The fire of sin threatens to scald even such a contemplative, though, because his success may precipitate lustful flattery from those who encounter him just as often as it might inspire their scorn. This is interesting as well. There's a lot of emulation of Christ among medieval mystics, and in so far as one is emulating Christ, we can't forget a key component of Christ's career is that people threw stuff at him, right? Like, and he was crucified. He was not well liked.
Not everyone was like his biggest fan.
Yeah, he had this ministry and was loved by these people, but then these people over here hated him. So that is sort of how you know you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Right, okay, because then if too many people are praising you, then even if you are doing it for the right reasons and not to be vain, now you're unintentionally being vain because you're getting all of this, like, praise.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it happened to me. I started putting all my bikini photos on the OC Instagram, and Dan made me take them down.
Too many praise.
Yeah,
Too many praise.
Too much praise for me. I was like, here, look at me in this bikini. How about this bikini over here? And I was acting like people were helping me shop for them, but they weren't. I was just like getting off on the praise. So I
and Dan said that actually hate does better for the algorithm.
Dan was like, this is not helping the show. We need to stop. Right?
I started being blasphemous, and it's...
I'm sorry, guys. It won't happen again.
Yes, I mean it might, but I acknowledge it was a lapse in judgment. The pursuit.
Public apology.
This is my public apology for that episode last January. So, the pursuit of this fire is an expression of love that endeavors to receive love and has nothing to do with knowledge or learning beyond presumably what Rolle has to teach. That is, there's always this ironic, like, in a lot of this lore of the medieval mysticism, like, learning after Solomon, right? Learning is knowledge. Too much knowledge is a bad thing. From much learning comes much sorrow. And yet they're teaching you, right? It's for a literate audience that's reading this
like
book.
A bunch of like catch-22s. They're like, what? Are we not supposed to learn here? Are we supposed to? What's the deal?
You imagine the guy sitting in like the medieval chapel, and he gets to that part in the book, and he's like, "Okay," and he shuts the thing.
The end.
Okay, guess I'll die.
That's it. Goodbye.
Yeah, why keep writing after that? Love is unique. Love in particular, in that it cannot be overdone and become bad for us. I love this idea. It's very Greek, I think. Everything else, when practiced in excess, turns to evil. But the virtue of love is such that the more it abounds, the more splendid it becomes.
It's beautiful.
Think about that.
It's very sweet.
Just sit on that for a second. I think it is the best part of this book is really that sentiment.
Yeah, because they are saying you can have too much of anything. Like, they've listed many things that you can have too much of, but it is really a sweet sentiment. They're saying the one thing you cannot have enough of is love.
You can read too much, you can think too much, you can sex too much, you can eat too much.
You can be too godly.
Right, you can be, over-obsessed, right? With this or that, but not love. Love of God is best, because love makes the loving one like what he loves, and transforms the lover into his beloved. For, when the fire of the Holy Spirit really gets hold of the heart, it sets it wholly on fire, and so to speak, turns it into flame, leading it into that state in which it is most like God.
That's really beautiful. Like, that entire statement. I could see that in a wedding. Just I want that
It's
to
like
be
poetry,
read at my wedding.
absolutely.
All right, I'll remember that.
Thank you.
Was I auditioning at the last one at Liv's wedding?
Yeah, I was taking notes. I was like, all right, okay, can he tie a knot? Is he supposed to tie a knot?
Jake and I were at Liv's wedding a couple months ago, and Liv sprung it on me that day that they were doing a hand fasting. I had never done it before.
And I gotta say, that was...
I feel like, let me just look that up really quick.
It was the most top-notch hand fasting I've ever seen in my life.
See, so I can improvise. So Olivia's bridesmaid is like, here, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm already in front of the congregation, and I have to sneak off with my phone to like Google like
how to tie hand fast.
Not only that, but like, when does it happen in the service? Like,
is this like a ring thing?
Yeah,
do we do this at the start?
Before the rings, after the rings?
Does it go in their hands, their feet?
Are they gonna play tug of war?
Right, yeah. Am I involved? Do I karate chop it at the end? So I did karate chop it. Everything went fine.
It was beautiful. It was truly beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. The learned scholars of the church scarcely know. Oh my goodness, you are still up. Ah, brother.
It's maniacal laughter for me.
He's really pleased with himself. One hot minute. We'll do this. I promise. We're getting there. I'll be right back. Where were we? The learned scholars of the church scarcely know what love is. Bud, honey, I love you. I love.
Love.
No,
And this is the next demonstration in the episode.
The learned scholars of the church scarcely know what love is, and are puffed up with vanity of their own scholarly pursuits, but the mystic is burned through with this love, such that if he was thrown into the fire of hell, he would not burn, for he has completely extinguished the seductions and delights of life. So what's burning down there in hell is your sins.
So you're saying we're not physically, I guess not physically, but our body isn't burning when we're down there?
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't feel good.
Only if it's full of sin. So if you're sinless
it
and
is.
you somehow still go to hell,
You're good to go.
you don't burn?
It'll be an odd experience
But
for
how
you,
do
I'm
you go
sure.
to hell if you don't have any sin? Or at least like that much sin in you?
Luck of the draw, you know?
Oh.
Sorry, God said, oof, you
Sorry.
rolled the bad dice.
It's a chance.
You rolled a 6 and whoops, hell
But
it is.
taking every seventh person, you gotta go.
Yeah, just
In
straight to
line,
hell.
yeah.
So
Grace, man, you gotta watch out for that. It's an interesting image of hellfire to me. It does not burn the individual as individual, but only those holy crap, but only those aspects of the self that does not. Okay, so much suffering. If God's fire has purified us, there is nothing left for hellfire to burn. The fuel of hell is worldly desire. To that end, Rolle is obviously no fan of any of the pleasures of this world. Rolle is extremely preoccupied with death and preparation for death. I don't know if you caught on to that. He argues in a quasi-Buddhist fashion. This precludes any earthly attachment. So preparing for death, in other words, he's got this quasi-Buddhist attitude where you have to remove your earthly attachments to prepare for death. He says, if you still regard earthly things with pleasure, your soul will be unprepared to endure suffering or death. Did you like that pie, that cake, that, I don't know. What do you enjoy?
not good.
Don't like it. Let it go. Stop enjoying things.
Okay.
Oh.
I can do that.
Can you enjoy loving God?
Yeah, that's
Or
about
is
it.
that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
that's good.
catch-22?
Yeah, that's a Buddhist catch-22. If you see the Buddha on the road, shoot him. But yeah, I don't know.
Don't follow that advice.
It's a Zen. I believe that's a Zen thing. Even more quasi-Buddhist is Rolle's suggestion that this does not suggest an ascetic lifestyle. While the hermit is often cut off from his fellow human beings, he does not worry overmuch about whether there is too much or too little. To concern yourself with whether you have too much comfort is to remain too preoccupied by worldly things. Neither deprive yourself completely, nor indulge yourself completely, except, of course, in case you're thinking this, when it comes to sex. Sex you can cut out completely and you're going to be fine.
Oh,
you
so
have to
there's
get
no
rid of
too
it.
little amount of sex. That's just, you can cut it, you're good.
If you're a Taoist, yes, there is too little amount of sex, but here in our medieval Christian world, you can be as celibate as you please. Balls to the walls.
Oh,
Literally.
congratulations.
Nail them there, leave them there, don't go back.
Won't need them.
Rolle has a fairly hostile attitude towards sex, not unlike the converted Marjorie Kemp, which extends to his attitude toward women. Get ready for this. This seems to stem, at least in part, from his continued attraction to women. While love of God extinguishes sin, he notes that the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and my love is not so great to distinguish lust completely. Classic, celibate Christian dude.
So he's like, I'm trying really hard to like respect God and be celibate, but all these hot chicks are making it really hard to focus on God right now.
Yeah.
So I just don't like them. Get
their
them out of
fault.
here.
Lust for Rolle is a broad term that extends beyond sex. Rolle is sometimes accused by his detractors of taking too much pleasure in staying at rich men's houses and eating expensive food. So we have to expand lust to these things as well. He says, I have striven not to eat more food than necessary, nor to discipline myself stupidly. Though I have been described as one who is addicted to rich men's houses, the pleasures of the table, and high living generally. So the reason I say he has detractors is because he told me about them.
So he liked the things that he was against? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. He's saying that he was accused of these things, but, the accusation must have some truth, right? He must be spending time in rich men's houses eating good food.
That would be an interesting thing for them to just pull out about a man who's living in the woods being a hermit.
Yeah, so lust...
He's a hermit who enjoys luxury food and luxury accommodations.
That's me.
It's called glamping, okay?
Glamping, actually. Thank you.
While this belies the impression of the hermit, as these guys are saying, he should even want to eat with others, let alone rich people, is not very hermit-like attitude, but its inclusion provides a hint into the demons that Rolle wrestled with. Rolle also seems to have a preoccupation with the fairer sex. He says that there was a time when he was rebuked quite properly by 3 different women. Shall I tell you the tale?
Please do.
Yes.
When he was going off about women's fashion and inspected too closely one woman's dress, she told him that he ought not to notice her dress.
Ooh, get him.
Inspected too closely. He spoke too approvingly of another woman's bosoms, and she asked what business it was of his, the size of her bosoms.
I know that's right.
Another woman he touched rudely, and she told him in good humor that a hermit had no business fooling with women.
Yeah,
Okay, that's like the worst roast of them all. She was like, get away, you hermit.
Rolle relates these exchanges all as errors, but they are errors he repeats insofar as he remains very concerned with women, particularly in the latter half of The Fire of Love, despite these women telling him to mind his own business. The only truly virtuous love is love for God and for one's neighbor, especially the poor. There is a love, says Rolle, which delights more in the creature than in the creator, and prefers the pleasures of the visible to the splendors of the spiritual. This is evil and abhorrent. No neglect of his soul is more damnable than that of the man who looks at a woman to lust after her. Such thoughts cause lust in the heart and corrupt the inner being. A special concern to Rolle is the inner self. It is worse to lust after a woman in our imagination than it is to simply touch her. It is possible, after all, to marry and have sex with a woman for the practical purposes of procreation, which are sanctioned by God. Our intention can purify our action, whereas our action cannot purify bad intentions or thoughts. You got me?
Yeah.
You have to get married before you have sex, because if you try to get married after you've had sex, it's too late.
But even then, Nikki, don't do it because you want to. Don't do it because you think it'll be fun. Only to make children.
Only.
Oh, of course. I mean, why else would people have sex?
Yeah. I feel like with a lot of these, or at least like other teachings that I've witnessed growing up too, the ones that people tend to like harp on the most tend to be the ones that they most likely struggled with the most. And that's what it's seeming. There's a big emphasis on this.
He's like, I know it's hard for everyone, that women are just so distracting for everyone, and I know we all just want to have sex with them all the time, but we can't, and we all have to control ourselves. I know I'm speaking for everyone here.
It might just be you. Maybe. I mean, you're probably not completely alone, but...
There is nothing more dangerous, more degrading, more disgusting than that a man should exhaust his mind in love for a woman. He goes on. Womanly beauty leads many astray. Beware of entering into conversation with a woman just because she is lovely. Flee from women. Do not ever think about them. The attraction of her beauty and the weakness of your flesh can beguile your will beyond measure.
This is so incel coded.
It really
Like, it
is.
sounds so like some Reddit incel wrote this. If a woman comes near you, flee. Flee! Don't let her look at you. Don't let her touch you.
But
It's a trap.
I'm not done, Nikki. I am not finished. It isn't just a man's feelings for a woman that are the problem with women, Nikki. Come on. You women. You got way more issues than that.
Oh, no. No.
In a fairly perfect encapsulation of medieval misogyny, Rolle argues that women are themselves a whole problem. It's not just men seeing women. Women all by themselves would be a problem.
Got it. He couldn't get laid. That's
By-
the issue here.
By meditating on the love of Christ, a man is able to rise above the female's empty endearments and learn to despise them for the stuff and nonsense that they are.
God. Oh my God.
Stuff and
That
nonsense.
is so painful.
Reason, he says, is undoubtedly less lively in those ladies. And so, they are easily led astray and quickly overcome. They are in much need of the counsel of good men. They are attracted to evil by evil men, because they are much more disposed to the pleasures of lust than to the radiance of sanctity. You're welcome.
I mean, what's a poor girl to do? I mean, all these men out here trying to lead me astray, and none of the good ones will come near me. They flee. So what am I supposed to do?
This, Nikki, is why we have sought you out, so that you may receive the counsel of this goodman.
And this is why we brought you
thank
here
God.
today.
People keep running away from me.
Us two goodmen, Jake and I,
The two good ones
have found you.
The blasphemer.
For to counsel you. Yes, you are the blasphemer. Now we've figured it out.
Dang it.
I've learned from my ways. You too can.
Traditionally, women were believed to be more inclined to sin because Eve was tempted by the serpent and then Adam by Eve. We sort of get this backwards today, like we've inverted this. We say men are hornier than women, but in the medieval period, women were hornier than men. The real truth is everybody's horny all the time. The women...
I know
Shocker.
That's right.
Just look at the internet. The woman fell to temptation first, is the biblical account here. Rolle makes no reference to Eve, but rather to a long-standing stereotype that women are less logical than men. Remember, reason is undoubtedly less lively in them. Their inclination to lust is taken as understood, although it also links to Eve and a woman's role as homemaker. Sex is naturally more interesting to women because their role is to produce children.
Yep, all women, they just, what they think about sex is, wow, I can't wait for this to cause 9 months of debilitating pain and then rip my vagina open. That's my favorite thing about sex.
Whatever
But
does
you-
it for
That's the
you.
only reason to have it.
You have nothing else to do, though, I guess, really. I mean, you're a medieval lady. It's not like you're going to go, become a joiner or a tanner of
Gosh,
hides.
make mud pies, just anything else.
Rolle is not entirely opposed to women, though, Nikki. He envisions a circumstance in which a man and a woman, in friendship, free from lust, might fit in with each other, according to God's plan, presumably with the man filling in what the woman lacks in reason. What the woman contributes isn't explicit.
Isn't this what they call like a lavender marriage or something?
She's pretty.
Yes.
No, seriously, I'm like, so a gay man and a lesbian woman, they get together.
Perfect.
They're just hanging out. They live together.
Perfect platonic. I mean, any platonic relationship, I think, is ideal. A Pertino man and a woman is perfectly fine, because now you can receive our good counsels, ladies.
Right, without being so horny.
Yeah, but Rolle isn't sure exactly. He doesn't say what the woman contributes, but I assume she must have something to give us.
Babies?
I'm going to be more generous here, because we're not allowed to have sex. Remember, we're in a platonic relationship.
Right.
Remember
no
that he genders the soul female. Let's go back to that. Something about spirituality and the spiritual self has a female aspect here. However, Rolle doesn't explore this at all. He says God does not want women to be despised by men or to be seduced by their vain flattery, but to be instructed by them faithfully and lovingly in all that is holy and pious for the salvation of body and soul. Now, this contradicts him when he earlier said to despise women, but...
You have to save them while you're fleeing from them. You must yell backwards Bible quotes.
I want to say here that Rolle's condescension of women is characteristic of the medieval period, but I also think it's not inevitable. Veneration for Mary certainly opened a possible avenue to acknowledge the divine feminine that harkens back to the way Rolle gendered the soul female, but he left Mary and his own gendering off to the side of his philosophy when he talked about women. Mary doesn't come up much. Rolle's relationship with Margaret Kirkby, however, paints a less harsh light on his misogyny. Let's not forget, irony of ironies, despite all these things he's had to say about women, He had an extremely close relationship to a woman who was walled inside a church. Very close. So close that we know these words of his, we know his name because of her.
Interesting.
The anchoress was taken to seizures, and Rolle would often sit by her window to soothe and comfort her. He was apparently the only person capable of doing this, and he said that even if she were the devil, he would comfort her thus. Recall, as I said, that it was Kirkby who passed his writings along after his death, and but for this woman, Rolle's work may never have been read by anyone other than a few of his contemporaries.
It's kind of interesting to carry on that kind of message when I feel like it includes you too, right?
It's quite
Yeah,
strange.
if I was her, I might have made some quick little rewrites before I
revisions.
spread that around. Maybe just tweak some things.
Good Christian humility. She accepts what he has to say, right?
I mean, she probably felt the same. She probably had similar viewpoints because just, everyone at the time, small area, you all kind of think the same as your neighbors and how you were all raised. So I'm sure she didn't see it as misogynistic at all. It was probably just the way things are.
Just because of
and
the
facts.
times. Yeah.
Let's bring our mysticism on home here and our whole conversation on mysticism. This so ends our conversation on mysticism here. So Rolle is often grouped with Margaret Kemp as being among the affective mystics. AFF, as in affect, as in emotion, as in visual, these sorts of stimuli. But the fire of love is fairly sparse in its articulation of an affective mindset. Affective mysticism was a medieval practice in which the believer meditated or otherwise focused on religious imagery related to Christ and the Virgin Mary, very, emotional based, often around the theme of the Passion. As opposed to approaching God through a cloud of unknowing, the affective mystic identified God through the stories and images in the Bible. For example, near the end of the fire of love, Rolle asks Jesus, "If only you would send me a companion for my journey, so that the longing could be lightened by his encouragement, and the changing of my sighings, the chains of my sighings, I should say, loosed. For if that lovely vision of yours does not come quickly and release me, it will press so heavily on your lover as to force him to leave this prison of flesh, and by reason of the very greatness of his love, to throw himself down before your majesty." He's calling out for this vision. For Rolle, not unlike Marjorie Kemp, these visions are mostly internal. The mystic does not meditate on our outward image, but an imagined image that rises to the heights of mystical ecstasy and revelation in their heads. This vision, being internal, does not always happen at the mystic's convenience. Rolle says, "My soul pants for you, my whole being is athirst for you, yet you will not show yourself to me. You look away." Should the mystic successfully conjure the vision, he might cry out or weep, or in Rolle's case, break out in song. This is not to suggest that the affective mystic believes he has any grasp on God's nature. He knows, says Rolle, God perfectly, who recognizes that he is beyond our comprehension and capacity. We know in part, and we understand in part, but in the future life we shall know perfectly and completely. For, if you knew what God is, you would be as wise as God, which is something quite beyond you. This implies that in the next life, the soul unites with God to the degree that it does not create a contradiction. The individual can never be as wise as God, unless the soul is somehow joined to God. The mystic recognizes that God is incomprehensible, loves him in recognizing him this way, and then rests in an inner quiet and an eternal rest. Final thoughts on Richard Rolle?
The only hermit I've ever known to die surrounded by nuns. And to live such an exciting life for a hermit. It really changes the meaning of the word hermit, like in his context. It does just mean being removed from certain societal ideals and norms, I suppose, and being more God-oriented and following the very thin line that you're given to follow, because you can't be too much or too little of anything, so you have to follow this very thin line. And yeah, I think being a hermit for him was more about not focusing so much on interpersonal relationships. He had them, and he had that one with the lady
Margaret Kirkby,
that
yeah.
shared his work.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems kind of the outlier, because it seemed like he did stay with people and talk to people, but he was more focused on his own interpersonal relationship with God than forming tons of friendships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like the one aspect that I really liked cannot speak, liked the most about it, though, is because it is, I think growing up, that's something I always resonated with a little bit more, was witnessing a lot of like very like outward acts. And to me, it always felt more of like a personal, like just, I guess, like contemplative like journey or like spiritualism, that like I could connect easier that way instead of actually trying to like do all of these things to try to like prove or gain some type of favor. So I think I like that aspect of it. And also Hermit, love to just go to the woods. But once again, they almost get me, but there's that one caveat: you get to stop being misogynistic.
I know, me and Jake are almost on board with so many things, and then they just throw
They
some
just lose
misogyny in
us.
there.
It's
and
right at the end too.
It's like, or some homophobia, and we're just,
Okay, I guess we're out.
Well, I kind of do that to you on purpose. I structure it that way.
You cuck us.
He's the old bait and switch.
I mean, because the fire of love is persuasive, and I didn't want to let the misogyny, like, you know, detract us from appreciating the philosophy.
Yeah.
But then we must acknowledge, I think his gender politics are very strange, insofar as there is so much misogyny in the fire of love, but then in his personal life, as Nikki's saying, it's another story.
Big old caveats there.
Yeah, very unusual situation for Richard Rolle. I hereby adjourn and declare closed this meeting of the Secret Order of Alchemical Actors until such a time as we get together and do it again. My name is Dr. Rob C. Thompson, and this is it. We're done. We are out of medieval mystics. I don't mean to sound so gleeful, but boy, I've had enough of the medieval period. It's been fun. I wanted to do this. It's done. We did it. From Kabbalah to Richard Rolle, we've been on quite a journey, and we're going to come back next season with a sort of rewind. We're nearing our 8th year of podcasting here. Can you believe that?
Wow, time
8
flies.
years. Yeah, so as we enter our 8th year, I wanted to just go back to some topics that were popular with audiences, and we're going to have some interviews and conversations, going to do a bit of rock and roll, we're going to do a little bit of Utah again, the Mormons anyway, and go back to some of the topics we've visited in the past, and just do an update and consider some other avenues of occult exploration. So we've been listening to Nikki Henderson, Our Naked Truth.
Goodbye. Go find a nice place to hermit for the winter.
Preferably with or without a woman, what would you say?
You have to run from the women.
Run
Don't let
from
them
them.
trick you, Rob. Flee.
But Nikki, what if you are a woman?
Just don't ever look in a mirror. You'll get jump scared. It's woof. Cover those mirrors and just, I don't know, keep your head down. It's tough. Life is suffering. And then you die.
It's true.
Woo.
You need that discomfort. Maybe leave the mirror there.
Ooh.
Jake Wheatley is our Knight of the Dangling Serpent.
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot. I took a few notes from this lesson, being contemplative, not blaspheming as much, and I think I've made it the entire episode without making a dick roll joke. So that's cool.
Yeah, that was Nikki who did the dick
I
joke.
didn't. It's okay, Jake. I got you.
I leave it to you.
Join us next time, friends, as we delve into the past of Occult Confessions with a future on occultism here on Occult Confessions.
That you cannot
Sometimes.
love too much. Yeah.
Yes, when you love too much, you suffer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But having children is a joy. I don't have any. I can't say that with like confidence.
Do you think that you will at some point?
I would like to acquire a child. The thing is, I would never, not me,
Yeah.
not out of here.
Yeah.
That's so scary to me. So no. It would have to be my girlfriend. If my girlfriend would, and we got the money for it, like,
You
we're
gotta
good.
take one
We're
for
good
the
to go.
team.
She would do it. She would
Yeah.
do it. And I would be the most perfect supportive partner ever.
Yeah.
Like, I would wait on her hand and foot. I just don't want to be pregnant. I think
That's
it
fair.
sounds horrifying. I think it sounds like that movie Alien.
And
And I don't... I think I'd be hospitalized the whole time. I'm a hypochondriac. Like I would literally every day I would be like, well,
This is it.
I'm dying.
I guess I'm
like every
I'm
like
going to die.
I don't think my hormones could handle it. I'm like not well enough.
I mean, that's a good point too. Like if you feel like that now, your hormones are going to be like heightened during that as well. So that is fair.
I go crazy.
Absolutely.
I go
fair.
crazy at least half of a month. I'm not gonna and I know that about myself, and I'm not in denial. So I don't think it would be a pleasant experience for me or anyone around me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's when you just have to go be a hermit for a little while. That's it.
Right?
It'll be fun. Yeah.